Hey guys, we're now
Where's the box with all the art?
I don't know. It's your art. We're live now. Never mind. Get in here.
Hey guys, live Saturday night live art and comics with Victor Alpi and James Edward Clark. How's everybody doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, awesome to have you on, James.
Oh, it's
Big
great to
fan,
have me. Thank you.
big fan of
Great
your
to be
work.
here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we have a big week for you.
Yeah, we
Uh,
just launched Piss and Apocalypse.
that for those who don't know, and I'm sure some folks are aware, that's the Kickstarter that James has just went live this week, and it's our first. It's the starred link in the comments, and um, there was actually I was just going to grab the pitch video um, and move that over just to the main comment page. So there's Victor right there.
Yeah, sorry, I had to get up and see if Meredith knew where everything was.
No, all
And
good, sir.
apparently my headphones are my microphone.
Actually,
What?
I forgot my headphones. Can you mute me for a second? I'll go around and get them. Okay.
Yep. So
So
guys,
yeah, I have been a big fan of James's for a while, for years even, and I was getting my book done, and I knew I wanted to get like a bunch of commissions. Or when I finally decided that, James was one of the first people I went to because he does very affordable commissions, and I think that the work that he does is very unique among a lot of the stuff that I see online. And so when I started my book and I was getting commissions, I asked James to do one, and this is what he ended up doing. And it turned out great. He ended up digitally making these hammers, which is cool. But like he ended up coloring it digitally, and this is like the traditional colors that you see, or that are on the original piece. But then I'm not sure of what his process is, and maybe he can let us in on it, like in terms of coloring his stuff, because it really softens up a lot of this um, hatchy line work, which I like a lot. And so yeah, I was just really excited to have James in my book, and he banged this out really quick too. So and actually sent it to me, so it was great. Um, with this, I was like, I knew I wanted to commission James, and then when I finally did, I was like, I know that he does $50 commissions, and he'll give me like Pissant Apocalypse, like the current issue. But I knew that I wanted to read the whole Pissant Apocalypse, so I was waiting for the right moment to like get a bigger commission because he was sending like the full run of mini comics with a larger commission. So I ended up swinging for one of those, and I've got the minis of Pissant Apocalypse in my drawer over here. And yeah, I was just like, I've been excited for this for a long time, and now it's got a Kickstarter going, and hopefully that's going well. I've already contributed to that, so I'll have the collected version of that as well. And yeah,
yeah, I before we went live here, we were talking, and James had shown the covers that were offered up as part of the Kickstarter. I got the cover to issue 2, that one. So thrilled about that. And for any of you guys just kind of waiting to contribute or deciding on what tier to offer, keep in mind that James is offering these rewards in Canadian dollars. So all our American brethren, that's very inexpensive for you guys. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I'll go.
So you can see the originals here.
Yeah,
The
there.
original cover for issue 1. As Victor was saying, it started off as kind of a series of mini comics that I was working on, and I was offering $50 commissions, and I would include one of these mini comics. And if you spent $150 on commission, like Victor did, you got all 5 issues and you read the entire thing in one go. And yeah, I just kind of it was just sort of a way for me to get the mini comics out to people and actually make some money on it. Like make a profit. I would make you know, like $50 US is like 65 American, so that would cover the shipping and the printing of the book, and I would make probably more than $50 with each commission I did. And at the peak, I was doing about like 6 a day for months on end.
Yeah,
And yeah, that was just kind of how I made money during the lockdowns and not have to get a job.
well, I know some collector friends and some real prominent guys were always talking to me about your famous $50 I'll draw whatever you want commission.
Yeah, it was
Very
like partly out of desperation, partly out of just wanting to get my books out to people and like in people's hands. And it's just, it wouldn't make sense financially if I was like selling these for like $10, $15 because they are just small mini comics. This is like 4 pieces of paper,
yeah.
double-sided, folded twice, and you cut the top off. Like the simplest ways you could do it. And I just wanted to get the book out there as cheaply and easily as possible, with like maximize as much money I could get from it. So like doing a little like 5x8 sketch for somebody was a great way to do it, and made the whole offer a lot more attractive. A lot more people like jumped in on it, and yeah, that's what I did.
Awesome.
And now it's done, and we have a Kickstarter up. It just went up Thursday. We're about halfway to our goal, and yeah, hopefully by the end of the month we can get that other. I think we need $4,800 in about 28 days. So I think that's doable, but it's going to be. I was hope. Yeah, you always hope you like launch big and blow it out of the water right away, and But I guess we're going to have to keep grinding.
And I guess I know you have some of the panels that you're offering as rewards. I know we got some art junkies like myself on board. So let's just So these are all being offered up as well. So there's original art rewards.
This one's spoken for already, right here. Yeah. So like when I started the project, I wanted to like kind of break some of my bad habits I have when I'm making comics. I wanted to have, just do all the pages together. So I would, print out these and ink them, scan them back in digitally. Like, I have to go into the whole process of like how I developed the book or whatever, but you can get a feel for what you're going to get when you order some original art. You go on the campaign. I have made like a little chart of everything available for everyone. Some of these are upside down. Jeez. It's real professional kind of operation.
Oh, if you want professionalism, you got the best right here.
That's right. And my camera's flipping, so they actually like play the other way. I feel like I look better if like a mirror vision or mirror image of myself, so I flip my camera like here.
And I guess most of them would be what, like 2 panels to a page.
Yeah, it was like 2 panels a page. They weren't in like any kind of order, so I've like cut them up, and you can buy them individually when you back it. It's like a special tier for them. And like I ended up putting the more background stuff digitally in the final version. I ended up going back on my wanting to break my bad habits, and like by the end I like revamped a lot of it. This final version, I added about 12 extra pages to the final book, and a lot of these, like the original backgrounds I had, I've redone. So if you can pick up a set of the original mini comics too. There's a tier for that, and you can get original art and all of the original comics. I have other original zines. Actually, if you look at my Instagram, I just made a post about the original zine tier I have, where I have 4 original zines I have, including a piece I did for the promotion of my last book, Tales to Elaine, writer Matt King. Kind of a prologue zine. And it's actually like the character in that is kind of a self-portrait. You can check that out right now. It's on my Instagram. Yeah. So there's 12 pieces up right now, and I might add more later if these start to move. And yeah, so there's 11 still available, and they're there for anybody who would like them.
And it's $150 tier, and I'm going to say this over and over again. That's $150 Canadian, which currently is 109 US dollars.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So hop on, guys.
That comes with the book too.
Yeah. Yeah, not just the art, like the hard copy too, right? And yeah. And the book's awesome. I read it last night. It's awesome. It looks amazing. It's wild. It maybe with some hyperbole, but both you guys I find kind of at the forefront of just this kind of new age of creator driven books that are super interesting and look phenomenal. So my jam is super interesting books that look cool and you can get art from it. So how do you guys, I know, Victor, we talked for a little while, just, how Humarks kind of came to fruition. With Piss and Apocalypse, James, is this something that has just been festering in your consciousness for a long time? The story you wanted to tell, or what kickstarts something like this for you?
Well, I was working on, like I was mentioned before, my last book I did with writer Matt King, Tales to Enlighten. And this is a giant, you can see how thick this is. This was a massive undertaking, huge project that took a long time. Matt actually put like a ton of pinup drawings here. So this is everything I did in the book. And these are all pinups. Absolutely insane. You can see here some of the art. And I did everything in this book, except for the writing. I drew it, inked it, lettered it, colored it, much like Piss and Apocalypse, which I wrote. But it's an intense kind of process putting the whole book together. And by the end, I was kind of like ready to move on. And Matt asked me to draw. I think there's a part in the book where you go to kind of this fantasy imagination land called Enlightenment, which is kind of like a club where you have all these famous characters in pop culture, famous actors, like everybody you can imagine. We put like every person that had any sort of influence that we're fans of in the background of this club. And Matt had like a running list of everyone he wanted in there. And one of them was, I think, Ren Xerox, who was a European kind of Frankenstein sort of character. I think he was in Heavy Metal a bunch of times. And, I had never read any Red Xerox, but I knew the character, and in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I know. I was just cranking these drawings out, so I didn't even bother looking up what he looked like. Oh yeah, he's got the hair, and he's got like the robot eyes, and he's yellow, and he's like big muscly. But in my head, he was like 3 times bigger than he actually is in the comics. He's like, so I drew him like a giant roided out steroid kind of bodybuilder muscle guy, and I had so much fun drawing that. I'm like, I was just compelled to keep drawing like a big yellow muscle guy. And I sort of switched it up. I gave him all these bandages so there'd be something distinct about him. And just like 4 a.m. when like I'm all burned out, I would just do 1 or 2 of these like drawings of this guy. And there are other characters in my sketchbook. Like you have the pig here, and he's got his lady friend. And those were all characters in my sketchbook. I just kind of pulled into and decided they all belong together. This is all part of the same world. And I just did a series of drawings of this character, just random stuff. I was like, I'd look up like reference for bodybuilders, and like that sort of informed it. But there was no story in mind at first, but I wanted to develop it out into a story. And I kind of came up with kind of this bare bones sort of thing where, he's walking through the desert with his crew, and they get attacked by marauders, and there's a like action scene in there. And then like I came up with an ending, sort of put punctuation on the whole thing, and people are still upset with me with that ending. the first one. So, the first issue is pretty basic, and if you read it now, it kind of reads like a prologue to the rest of the book. And I put out that issue as sort of the mini comic. It was sort of like an experiment where I could, like I was saying, get the book out to people, package it together with a sketch, and make the whole deal more attractive, and I could make more money. And I did that. And, I wanted to expand it out to a whole book because, like, as it stood, it was just like 30-page mini comic. It wasn't really anything. It was kind of slight. And then I came up with the story of, the architects of the apocalypse and like him tracking them all down and fight him. Or not even fighting it. Like, you have to read the book and see. But yeah, that's basically how it came together. Actually, I have a tier where you can purchase this sketchbook where I developed the whole concept and everything. And you could basically bankroll the entire print run of the book by picking up this sketchbook. And I'll throw in the zines, I'll sign the trade paperback and everything. And there are literally like hundreds and hundreds of other drawings, and you get real insight into my creative process.
Yeah, that's
how I think things through.
True, one of a kind. I was just going to ask you if that was the sketchbook in the in that tier. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. No, that like I was telling you guys, before we went live, I read the book last night, front to back. It's awesome.
Thank you very much.
It's beautiful, and it just takes you on a ride. I find, I mean, you guys are both so unique. Yeah, really unique voices in comics. But I find one thing you guys share in common is the pace will take you on a frenetic fever dream level of crazy all the way. Then you'll just slow it down, and those kind of emotional moments come too. So it's just kind of an interesting flow of pace with both of you. I don't know if that's deliberate on your guys' part, or when you're creating these stories, what are you aiming to do with that? I mean, that's a very general question, but
like I was saying with the first one, it was kind of like a free form, almost stream of consciousness, kind of the development of it. And once I figured out once I came up with that ending for the first one, I thought, yeah, that would work. And then I, to come up with the rest of the story, I kind of sort of started with moments I wanted to hit, kind of expanded out from that. So I knew like I wanted the engineer of the apocalypse, and he would have some sort of like city of the future. But I had the idea for, you roll up on him and he's got, he's maniacally like digging an entire like field full of graves, and this is the city of the future. And I had that in mind, but I didn't have any of the details of like when you actually get into the flashback and you sort of see the process of it, or you see like what the city of the future actually was and entailed and everything. I didn't have any of those details worked out. I really didn't figure it out till I actually like forced myself. I actually like started posting the book on my Instagram. The whole thing's like serialized on my Instagram. If you want to go check it out, you can read it. But who wants to read comics on Instagram? Like, buy the book. But so I didn't have like a solid plan for like that whole middle section of that issue. I didn't really know where I was going with it until I was like halfway through, and I was just posting panels every day. And then it kind of came to me, it all snapped into place. I actually think that's probably the strongest issue out of the 5. I had certain like moments in mind for each. And like when I sat down to do the issue, like as I went through it, I would plan it out more and more. Like by the 4th one, I'd figured out like I actually like made like 30 little boxes or 32 little boxes, because that's how many pages I have. Really it's 30 with the cover and the back cover, and if you want to do something in the inside cover, then you got 28 pages to work with. And I sort of planned out, okay, they roll up on the castle here, go up to the castle here, the king of the world, he shows up on this page, and then you get the twist here, and then you get the climax, and then like how many pages do I have for the end? Okay, like I gotta squeeze that into like 3. So I planned it all out, and then I actually made kind of a super rough cut of it, and just folded like 4 sheets of paper, cut the top off. So I had a little mini zine. I drew basically like a thumbnail version of the entire book like that. So by the fourth one, by the fourth one, I pretty much had figured out the whole process of like how to make this, develop it, make the pages as painlessly as possible, and have the whole thing come together exactly how I wanted it to.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
No, that's awesome. There's just it's an embarrassment of riches right now. I run from Hugh Marks to Piss and Apocalypse to Space Nights with Kevin. There's just a number of great things. And, I talked last time with Victor about how, this, I call it a bit of a renaissance, but what you guys are doing is just infinitely more attractive to me kind of in my readership evolution right now. And I think a lot of people are the same way, just really unique creative voices. And like I said, everything looks beautiful that you guys are doing. Just a quick question, James. Your $50 commissions, are you planning on a commission tier on the Kickstarter at all? Or
it's funny you should mention that. I am going to probably add that this weekend because you get the initial boom on the first day, and the second day you get some more, and then by the third day it starts slowing down. You're like, oh, what are we going to do? So we're about halfway to our goal. We have a goal of about $10,000 Canadian. We're halfway there now. We need about another 4,800 Canadian. So I thought maybe I'll do like $100 sketch tier where it comes with the book. I'll sign the book, and you get a sketch of whatever you want. Once the whole thing's funded, I get money in my account. And then and then you can add I'll add tiers where you can add the zines onto it, and you get the original zines. And like if you want to like really splurge and get like a original piece of art of exactly what you want, that'd be a big help. I think that's a good way to go. And I'll promote it. I'll make like a email blast announcing it. Probably put that up tomorrow or so.
Oh, cool. Yeah, oh, that's great. I know it tends to be. I mean, it's not always ideal because it means you have to do more work on top of all the work.
I'm used to it.
But I do find any of the campaigns that we've had any kind of involvement in, it tends to be commissions are always a hot item there.
That's good. Yeah, I didn't want to bog myself down doing a bunch of posters and T-shirts, stuff I don't really have much experience doing that. Like producing, it's my first solo campaign, so producing the book has a bit of a learning curve in and of itself. And I just want to focus on putting out like a quality kind of publication that everybody would really appreciate when they hold it in their hands. And I just want to focus on making the book as good as possible. So that's why I set the goal at like 10,000. Right?
Awesome. Yeah, and it, like you said, a good strong start. And I'll vouch for the book, the original art, everything. It's kind of it's a spectacular book, and get some original art because the originals are beautiful. And what really it was kind of odd because following you for quite some time, James, it was always hard to tell what your originals looked like. It probably wasn't until Victor had shown me the Hugh Marks piece. I'm like, oh, that's what James's originals look like. Because
they're all ink. Like I'm a big fan of. I used to do everything in like Crow Quill pen, kind of like Victor's doing right now. I use like a thinner kind of Crow Quill basically. And then last few years I've switched over to using more Pilot pens, but I still use like a kind of a Japanese calligraphy brush to do sort of these larger, clunkier lines. Gives it kind of a nice, thick, organic feel to the whole piece.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, I wanted to break some of my habits with this book, my bad habits with this book, like when I'm making comics, where I'm just like, a lot of times I'm sort of doing different figures and backgrounds and different layers, putting it all together in sort of this like digital collage almost. And it's not, if you want to go sell originals, it kind of makes everything a little trickier. But then I think like halfway through the second one, I just said, fuck it. Just went back to my old sort of usual way of doing everything. So I put up these first two covers because they were just on the same piece of paper, and they're both like, that works. And those sold out the first day. So yesterday, I put up the third cover. This is the cover for issue 5. right here. It looks better like mirrored. Like I have my camera mirrored, so this is backwards. But you can see here, it's almost like kind of a collage. I might glue this down. I might not. Victor, he was showing off his piece before, and he's saying he always told me how much he liked the fact that you could peel back and you can see the drawings beneath each of them, right?
Yeah. Oh, and there's a really good image of that on your Instagram, right?
Well, I have the book right here. Oh yeah.
Of
Okay,
that.
yeah, that was the post I put up yesterday.
Yeah.
This is like the final cover right here with all the color. I kind of I did kayfabe the crown and sort of the light effect in the background.
Yeah.
This is that's not the original crown from the original cover, but everything else is the original.
Oh, that's
all
excellent.
it's all pieced together. And this one was I might, if this one sells, I'll put up another one. This one was like relatively easy to put together. The other two might be a little trickier. I had to go through my big box of all the original art for this Apocalypse, and I was like, let's go with number 5. That'd be easy to do.
Well, and kind of, I've actually had some conversations with some other artists who shall remain nameless right now this week, just about kind of some artists, some attachment to their originals. To pose a question to both of you guys, do you guys, even if it's not a commission, if it's a cover, pages, whatever, do you guys tend to grow an attachment to your own art, have a hard time letting it go?
I mean, I'm kind of attached to this sketchbook. That's why I'm charging $10,000 for it. This is like the closest thing to like a diary I have, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then there's like, there's some like personal pieces in here. Like I have a drawing I did of my grandmother. I was like flipping through. Oh, it's granny. Where is it? There she is.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like personal stuff in here. You get like a real view of my process and like who I am. And going through it, I feel like. So it is, unique piece, one of a kind. And, you can't replicate it. There's just like hundreds and hundreds of little drawings in here that I've done. Like, you can see like here, I've kind of like, that's just like people on the bus. Like I don't carry a cell phone. So while I'm on the bus, I'm drawing like everyone else on their cell phone. But then, some of the, I didn't like these drawings in particular. So I drew over them with something else. And like, this is like acrylic wash. Like Victor was showing off his piece and they have, that was done in acrylic wash. And he was asking how about my process. I actually I added the color on the original after the fact. I do that just to make the piece more attractive for the people who buy it. Right?
Nice.
Yeah. And, this is like, I was like developing a little game with my brother. He went to school, studied video games. This was like an idea I had for a video game called Children Running in Traffic. And there's basically, you get the one kid, he hits a baseball. It goes flying. It's kind of like Frogger almost. You got to like weave your way through the traffic to retrieve the ball and throw it back to him. It's just kind of like, it was supposed to be like a cell phone game. It's like when I was on the bus, like all these kids, they got their cell phones out and they're all playing these little games. I look over their shoulder. I just take a look at them like 3 people made that game. So it's like, my brother and, just thinking like, me and Thomas could do that.
No, that's cool. Like a Frogger almost.
Yeah, kind of Frogger, but kind of a twist to it where you actually have an objective. Like you got to retrieve something and bring it back without getting hit by the frog. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get around to it, but I did a bunch of concept art and this is all in the book, right?
Oh, no, we appreciate it, Weezy. That's awesome.
Matthew Allison, he's great. Yeah, I've met him before. I got Matt actually booked, I think it was, or somebody, somebody actually like backed the Matthew Allison Cancor collection for me. So I have a copy of that. That's absolutely beautiful book.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite all-timers, that one.
Yeah, Matt, he actually, Matthew Allison, he came to Toronto for TCAF. And Matt actually PayPal'd him. Matt King, who I did Tales to Enlighten with, he actually PayPal'd Matt money in advance so I just needed to pick up his book. So I actually like had a kind of an introduction to him. I had an in with him. I met him and his wife, and they're both
Oh
very
yeah,
nice people. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, I love that book. I was actually a big fan of him back when we were both on Blogspot to date how old I am. I was a big fan of his blog back then, so I was excited to finally meet him and get like some copies of his book. And the collection's absolutely beautiful. If anybody can still, if you can, I don't know if you can still get a copy of it, but highly recommended for sure.
Super recommend.
Oh yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, he's definitely and yeah, kind of. I think back in the day, I always talk about Cancor. The first time I saw Cancor, yeah, just kind of a early days, just kind of a smattering of it in a few different spots online, and I'm like, what is this?
It's
This is
such a like a bizarre style, you know. It's so unique. It
yeah,
really stands out.
and I was just enthralled. I'd see like the odd like you'd have like a page posted somewhere, and there'd just be this like killer joke that this really like dry joke just kind of mixed in, and I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen, but I don't even know what it is. So now
Yeah, you read it, it's like a super personal sort of thing, and like he's weaving in his own autobiographical stuff, and he's like ruthlessly kind of cruel to himself and his
yeah,
depiction and everything, and that's sort of the best part of the book. And like it's sort Cancor is like I guess like it's like in his head almost, and it's just this like super surreal superhero send up parody almost, but it's like it's like nothing else. It's hard to like even describe what it is. It's like all the characters are faceless, but everything's so highly rendered and like great use of ink. Yeah. It took him years to like put those issues together and get it collected, and you could tell like just the rigor in every fucking panel.
oh yeah, absolutely. It's true labor. Wes is wondering when's the evil Kickstarter happening.
After Piss and Apocalypse, so we got to get that funded and out to everybody. So hopefully, yeah, I'm hoping. If you look on the Kickstarter, I said I have it done by April. I gave myself like 6-7 months, but like ideally, I want it done by the end of the year and just get it out the door so I can write it all off of my taxes. And then Evil is my first book that I ever did. It was a book I self-published while I was working in a factory, and I won an award for that. The third issue of that, I self-published 3 issues of that, and then there's a 5 altogether. And I got laid out from the factory, and I had 3 issues done out there. I was in the middle of doing the 4th one. I decided I'm just going to finish this book I've been working on forever. I had a bunch of personal stuff. I didn't care. And then as soon as I finished those issues, Matt approached me about doing Tales to Enlighten. And then that took me right through the lockdowns, basically. I was like sending him the final PDF or Photoshop files over the cloud as like everything's locking down on the news. It was kind of crazy.
That's awesome. And I guess I'll pose this question to both you guys too, like in terms of, you're telling your own stories, continuing to self-publish or crowdfund or whatever. Is there like a goal in mind beyond that? Like, would you guys want Hugh Marks or Piss and Apocalypse to land with a publisher beyond the crowdfund? Is those thoughts cross your mind? I'm always intrigued by the thought process there.
I mean, ideally, I just would like to be able to make a living doing it and just sort of keep the whole thing insular in my own sort of wheelhouse and just do my own thing.
Yeah.
Ideally, I wouldn't need a publisher.
I have with in terms of the Hugh Marks, I have like no desire or need for a publisher to pick it up at this point. Like I think I sort of proved to myself that like if I put out a thing, people will get it hopefully for the most part, and I'll just keep doing it like that. I wouldn't mind working for anybody, but when it comes to that project specifically, and for me, I plan to keep that self-published for as long as I can.
Yeah, like for me, people have approached me about doing other books and working with them, but people send me a script and it's 160 pages. I just look at it like that. It's like 2 years of my life, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's
It's a giant commitment, and even if you get a page rate, like Matt gave me a pretty reasonable page rate, especially for an indie kind of project, but it's never enough. So, creating is like a compulsion for me that I can't seem to stop. So I won't stop, but I sort of it's just a lot less stressful if I can just do my own thing, keep it in
yeah.
my own sort of world where I don't have to deal with other people and sort of their ideas. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm always, yeah, I just, that's something I'm always curious about. Because, like I said, I think just finding singular voices in comics right now seems to be what I'm really drawn to, what I really prefer. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not even just, I'm finding, I'll read a book and usually that singular voice is much more intriguing. And, I write a bit, so I can't draw. So it's kind of disappointing because it's like you guys are doing the great artists doing the most interesting stuff. But as much as if I want to create a comic, I need a collaborator,
Mm-hmm.
and which is kind of going against what I actually want to see out there in kind of the singular voice thing right now. But no, that's cool. Uh, what kind of with you guys working as much? Do you guys read much for comics these days? Just kind of do you find time to?
I've
I know.
been kind of making time lately. Summer. I don't get enough sun, so I've been going out, just sitting out in the sun and reading without a shirt, so I can soak up some vitamin D for my health. And what have I read recently? The last sort of new comic that came out was Tradd Moore's Doctor Strange. He just put out. Was it summer, fall, or I don't know. I like Tradd Moore a lot. It was his art's always beautiful. Um, I picked up the Complete Eight Ball a few months back. I finally got around to reading it. I read Akira for the first time this summer. The lockdowns kind of like broke my habit of like going to the comic book store every week, which would have been like a 15-year habit. But I still like love comics and want to read them. So I've been picking up a lot of the older stuff that I've been missing. Got into like Phil Droulet, got a couple of his books. I went on like a Paul Pope kick. I actually have an interview I did with YouTuber Chris Anderson,
Oh yeah.
where we went through Paul Pope's 100%, and that should be coming out Monday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was a good conversation. And I actually read through all like Paul Pope's bibliography. I think I read Heavy Liquid and I read 100%, and I was like, I'm just gonna read the rest of it. So I had all those. I hadn't really looked at them in a long time. I went through like Battling Boy and Escapo, One Trick Ripoff.
I just picked up Escapo not too long ago. To answer your question, Cam, I have not made a lot of time to read stuff, but I have been picking up stuff. Like the pile doesn't stop growing, especially because me and Meredith are both like just really avid. Like we love going to comic shops and just checking stuff out, and like it's really hard to say no when you come across something like Cam is talking about, like when it just talks to you, like something with a voice pops up, like it's really hard to just be like, oh, I'll get it next time. No, I'll just get it right now. What the hell?
See anything interesting?
I also picked up Tradd Moore's Doctor Strange. Um, let's see what else. Meredith got me Akira. It's funny that you mentioned that because that's also something I'm trying to finish before the end of the year.
It's a completely different sort of experience than the movie to read the manga.
Yeah, yeah.
It's sort of the movie ends like halfway through the manga, and then the second half is like this whole post-apocalyptic gang war with all the different factions. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Like every panel in that book is astounding.
I dig Otomo, so I am definitely looking forward to that. I let's see, when was the last thing? My friend Ujis just put out, just did the cover for a book called Mother Russia, so I picked that up. And that's like an indie story put out through Comics Experience. Cool little zombie story. And yeah, no, I guess I haven't really been reading all that much.
Yeah, I picked up when I picked up the Trav Moore book. I also picked up the latest Shaky Kane book. I forget what it's called now, but I like Shaky Kane a lot. I'm a big fan of Bulletproof Coffin. That was one of my favorite books. Yeah, it was from a while back, and yeah, I was doing like an interview. Like I was taking pictures of me. Went to a comic book store and kind of took pictures while I kind of like pretended to flip through long boxes and like sat at a table and pretended to draw. So yeah, Plunger Shock. If you, it's a super indie kind of arts magazine here in Toronto. Should be coming out soon.
The new Shaky Kane, is it weird work or?
Yeah, something like that. It's
Yeah.
weird thing. It's like kind of police procedural kind of book. Yeah. It wasn't too keen on the writing. It was sort of I like it when Shaky like leans into sort of the weird surreal stuff. I don't know if this writer he's working with is quite the right tone for him.
Yeah,
what was it? David Hine. David Hine. He did Bulletproof Coffin with. I think like that was kind of the perfect sort of match for him.
Yeah, Jordan Thomas's weird work, and then the previous one I think is just that one shot, oversized Cain and Abel.
Yeah, I did flip through that. That was really kind of a good one. The other guy he was working with, I guess Abel is his name. I liked his story in it with his sort of satirical kind of Batman character that he had.
That that was one I really dug.
That was a good one. I think the Beef, that was a few years back. It was kind of, I guess like Shaky's like a vegan or something, or a vegetarian. It was kind of like this crazy Kirby-esque kind of vegan propaganda almost, but it was super fun. Yeah. That was a fun book. Yeah, I love Shaky Kane. He's in Tales to Enlighten too. I think. Yeah. So Matt actually did while we were working on the first. People saying how great you are. Oh, there's King, or Matt King there. Hi, Matt. I was just saying, Matt, while we were working on the first Tales to Enlighten, he was commissioning other artists to do sort of stories in the Tales to Enlighten universe. And he came out after Tales to Enlighten 1 came out. You can see how thick they are. Came out with a second book with a whole collection of short stories set in the same universe. And this is like almost 500 pages. Tales to Enlighten the New Testament. Shaky Kane does have a story in here. I was excited to see his story.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's I did like a 4-pager at the start. I just wanted to do kind of a send off to the characters, like sort of bridge the gap between the beginning of Tales to Enlighten, or the end of the first Tales to Enlighten, the beginning of this book. So it sort of picks up directly after. And then the characters from Tales to Enlighten, Sam and Manfred, they kind of what did he say? 568 pages?
568.
Yeah, it's more than 500. Wow.
Thanks a lot, guys.
They find Tales to Enlighten, or they find King or DJ MGA's comic book collection. They're just sort of flipping through it, and then sort of the implication is every story in this book is one of these comics they pull out of this book, right? So I think it was kind of a fun sort of framing device for the whole series, or the whole book, I guess. And actually, if you go check out the podcast 11 O'Clock Comics, they just did an episode going through that book, talking about Tales to Enlighten 2, and they have in their archive an episode where they talked about the first Tales to Enlighten. Have you guys read Tales to Enlighten?
I have not.
I think you can still get a copy if you go to Matt's Instagram page. King Megatrip, I think it is King Megatrip 23, I think, and then you can go to his Etsy page, which is the link in his bio. So that's King Megatrip, I think, is his Etsy page. You can still pick up a copy of both, I think, and he's running out of the first one pretty quickly, I think, and it's a really great book. You guys should check it out. Everybody. Well, I was talking to Chris Anderson. He actually has a story in the second book. 99 copies left. We got less than 100. And James Wong, thank you. Yeah, I was talking to Chris Anderson. He actually has a short story, I think, in the second book. And yeah, he was discussing about the production, how beautiful the whole book packages.
Well, and just going back to 11 o'clock comics, Jason Wood, he's a huge fan of yours, James.
Oh yeah, yeah. I sent them a PDF of Piss and Apocalypse, and like, oh, you guys want to talk about my book? I got a campaign out right now. Well, I haven't heard back from him yet. I don't know. I think they had a convention that weekend, and then who knows? They just put out another episode, I think.
He's been he's a force of nature in the art and comic game, Jason, but he's been a little quiet lately. So someone needs to whip him back into shape.
I think they're still doing episodes. I think they just put out an episode where they're going through the books that came out last week.
Oh,
and, yeah. So there might be an episode of 11 o'clock comics coming up where they talk about Piss and Apocalypse. We'll see though. They haven't. I haven't heard back from them yet. We'll see.
Well, that's awesome. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, they really enjoyed Tales to Enlighten the New Testament, and they were big fans of the first book too.
Yeah, those guys are. They're ahead of the game. I tend to discover things. It seems like years after those guys are already experts on some of the best comics out there.
I think Matt's a big fan of the podcast, so he hooked them up with copies, and they were just like blown away by it. Most people who've seen it, blown away. Like the K-Tape guys, they talked about it. Like I think Matt's a little, or I think Ed was a little taken aback, like a little bit more reserved about. He liked the production a lot, but like the story, I think. Was a little he didn't know what to make of it, but Jim was very, very high on the whole thing. I think he was the one excited to talk about the most. They did a mailbag episode like a year or two ago.
Oh, cool.
It's funny. I sent him copies of the Piss and Apocalypse scene, and to sweeten the pot, I did like little portraits of them. Like I drew Ed in kind of a red room kind of setting where he's like got an axe and he's holding up a woman's head and he's got like blood all over him. And then what am I going to draw for Jim? Jim likes cats, so I just drew like a dozen cats around Jim and send it in there. And like I never heard it back from him. It's like they don't really do mailbag episodes, or they haven't for a long time. But I forget which episode it was, but Ed made some comment at some point. It's just like, like guys send me like, fan art with like me holding like a severed head. I just look at it like, fuck, dude. So I think I freaked him out with that. That was funny. I marked out for that.
Well, and you guys in the community, you had the admiration of your fans, and it seems like comics people, guys who illustrate are also big fans. But is there any type of validation that comes with hearing good reviews of your work from your peers or artists you admire, or is it something that just kind of happens? It's cool, not something you're ever like necessarily searching for? I was curious on that dynamic.
When you hear like good reviews, you're like, oh, makes you happy. But I don't think I've gotten like a really, really bad review from like Piss and Apocalypse or I was going West. West is the best. I think I've gotten like a really, really bad review from either of my books I've put out so far. So I don't know what it'd be like if someone just like completely trashed the entire thing. Like it's a very like over the top, overtly sexual. It's not for everybody. It's not for everyone, but I think most people appreciate it for what it is. It seems like it's great.
Yeah, like I said at the top of the show, it's awesome. It looks great. It's
What'd you think of the ending? Like, I'm curious about what people thought of the ending. Like, people, they're kind of like almost like it's a super dark book, but then I felt like a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know, James, I don't know where you're going with this. It's a little much, but then you get to the end, and then I just kind of tack a happy ending. And they're like, I don't want to spoil it, but they're like, so what happens next? So like,
Well, it felt well. Yeah, I don't want to get into it too much to spoil either, but
well, what does it felt like? Yeah, we'll talk about our feelings. We don't have to
yeah, no, it felt good about it. It felt for me it like kind of shored up the relationship in the
yeah.
because at the start, which was one of the most interesting things I found in the book, that how it started, how cutthroat things were at the start, and I didn't know what to make of that core relationship.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in a way where it was confusing. It was like,
Well, it's sort of like it starts off one way. Like I said, it was sort of like developing it was kind of stream of conscious. And maybe I'm like revealing a bit too much of myself for that one, but my own proclivities. But like that was like something in my sketchbook, and she was just like, it felt like they belonged together, those two. And it was like my lockdown book. It was like in the middle of like, it was the end of like 2020. I did that first issue, and so I was just kind of like, is there even going to be like a fucking comic industry by the time we get to the other end of this? I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to put like all the whatever I want in this book, and it's just you could do just one last book. What would you do with it? And this is what I came up with. But at the time I got to the second issue, I realized I had to soften the whole relationship, or else the character wouldn't be sympathetic.
yeah.
And you're gonna have to follow for another 4 issues. So I had to like kind of, no, the guys are in love. It's okay. She's into it. It's fine. I'm like, listen. The book's called Piss and Apocalypse. Like, this is about as healthy a relationship as you're gonna get in the situation. It's kind of how I approach it.
But in the, like the darkness, and like you said, it gets dark at times, it gets cutthroat at times, but there's just something endearing about that.
I kind of had to, there are moments where I kind of like reel it back, and you get sort of tender moments too, and you kind of have to sprinkle that in, so it's not just like unrelenting darkness, and like there's like affection between those two, tenderness, right?
And it looks spectacular. I can't emphasize that enough. It looks great. So I guess this is jumping around a bit. Victor's got a Battle Beast commission he's working on. I can't remember who that's for, but I told Victor when he showed me the layout this week how much I like that. Are there characters you're itching to draw, James, when you open up that commission tier, or?
Pretty open. I like drawing pretty girls, and that gets a good response when I like repost it online. So yeah, pretty girls. Like the thing is like Kickstarter. Doing my research about Kickstarter, and like people are successful, and they're like, yeah, covers with pretty girls do well, and like variants with pretty girls do well. Just basically put a bunch of tits on it. That's what I hear over and over and over again. And there's a lot of that in Piss Ant Apocalypse. Maybe not even enough. I'm thinking like maybe I should have gone even further. I would have made 10,000 by now. So if I'd done that, I think maybe.
Yeah. I guess you're not wrong.
No, it's just all about the commissions, whatever people want. I got to figure out a way, because I can't see who backs what, I don't think, until like the campaign's over. Like there's a chance, like if it doesn't fund, they keep the money. So they're keeping that under wraps until we're a bunch of Star Wars. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I remember that. How many did you do commission? Like 6 at a time? Or because I did like the Bounty Hunters, I did like Yoda, I did Jabba. I think Jabba was for somebody else. But what's Jabba's little the little yappy friend that he has, the little guy? I don't know what his name is, but I did him, and a few other characters. I think I did a bunch of Star Wars. I did a Slave Leia. I did one of her. I did a couple Leias actually. Yeah, from the different movies.
I'm just gonna see if I can't pull that up here and post a link.
Apparently, there's a way you can like share screens or something in StreamYards. It'd be cool if we could show the pitch video.
Yeah, I do have to get some more. Oh yeah, Salacious Crumb. But
Salacious Crumb, yeah.
Here's I just posted the link to Mikhail's Comic Art Fans Gallery. So um, all the characters are there.
Oh, he posted it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salacious Crumb. That's who it was. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I appreciated when people would order a bunch of drawings all at once. It's really great. Get my head above water. Kept me living indoors and not having to wear a mask all day.
Yeah, that was quite a time. Well, it's been a few years now, but just how it kind of changed everything for comics and just but thank God for comics and you guys and continuing to do what you're doing, because I think for most of us who big time readers and collectors and everything, like it gave us a lot to do during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people were really grateful for it. So
yeah,
guys.
Yeah, like I finished up Tales to Online. I was like kind of like taking stock of my life. I'm like, I was in my 30s now. It's just like, comics is a hard game to make a living. I was just like thinking about a future and like wanting a family and all that stuff. So I was thinking like moving out to the East Coast and like getting a job at being a dock worker or something where you got a pension and health insurance or something. And then they shut the economy down for 2 years. So that wasn't an option. I couldn't even get into, they had like a whole maritime bubble. You couldn't even get into those provinces from where I was for like a year, 18 months or something ridiculous. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I just had no choice, but was stuck in my room and had nothing to do. It's just like, you got all the time in the world. Like, what would you do? It's like a couple books.
Make some comics. Yeah. That's great.
And, my options were gun it for comics or go back to the restaurant. And also glad I did what I did.
What's this character from? The Battle Beast?
Invincible.
Oh, okay. I only read the first trade of that. I think the first trade, it's not even Otley on that one.
Yeah, no, I have a bunch of my commissions like sketched out, and I printed them out on like cheap computer paper at Staples.
Yeah, Blue Line.
Yeah, not even blue lined. Because blue line is hard for me to see. I like literally printed out my pencil sketch, and then I've got like a light box underneath here. So I hit it with that. I just didn't know how that would look on camera, so I haven't been using it. I like sketched out a bunch of it in pencil to sort of work without it.
Yeah, like once you get the shapes you want and everything, you can kind of just kayfabe the rest of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was explaining the whole process of like developing the character and the whole story in my sketchbook. And I would scan them in and print them out blue line. You can see sort of the process here. And then I would color them all in Photoshop. So when you're buying the original art, what you're buying is sort of, it's the inks that appear in the final comic, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you want like the raw stuff, you gotta sprinkle it. Yeah. You gotta pony up the big money for the sketchbook.
Like you said, it's got a lot of personal stuff in there and a lot of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on there, I'm sure.
Yeah. I have like dozens and dozens of sketchbooks, so it's not like I won't have any if I sell one.
Yeah. Well, hop on, then somebody can. Then you'll have the whole thing covered, and the rest is gravy.
Yeah, hopefully somebody who's watching this, they haven't backed yet, and they feel inspired to go pick up a copy of the book, maybe some original art. Like I was saying, I have this piece up right now available, and I think this weekend I will open up original commissions for people too. has a tier that can back. I'll do like another email blast. I'm kind of like Matt was good enough to hook me up with his mailing list from the Tales to Enlighten. Um, but I'm sort of worried about like all the emails going to people's spam. Like the service I use, they tell you should use a business email, so I might have to set up a business email this week too. Email people.
Yeah.
You know anything about that? Is that a thing?
The business email being more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems I'd have to check kind of what our detail is on the mailouts.
Mm.
It kind of varies. Sometimes the responses, but the service we use too, I sometimes find it's a little unreliable at
Yeah,
times.
it's kind of like a crapshoot whether people actually gather or not. Which service do you guys use?
I just use Squarespace. Used to use
Oh,
Mailchimp as well.
yeah. I have like no budget, so I think I think Matt suggested like Mailer Lite, but then I tried to sign up, and then they sent me an email to verify my account, and it went straight to my spam. So I'm like, no. I ended up with like Email Octopus. I think I'm using.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of some people had suggested Mailchimp to me before, but it was just kind of redundant for what I had available in Squarespace, which is it's sleek in how it able to get the mail outs out there and how it tracks everything, but whether or not it's something that's effective it
I
remains.
think it's probably like most people agree it's like the most effective way because like if you're just dealing with tiny leather, that's the one that went straight to my spam. Yeah, I tried Mailer Lite too, but then I didn't have enough free emails either, so I had to like sign up for another service. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just kind of like people who do crowdfunding. They say your mailing list is probably the most effective way, but there's always challenges and stuff.
yeah,
Because spam is a problem. Like I've been getting like insane amount of spam on my Kickstarter campaign just from people claiming to be marketers, and like some of them are trying to be like pretty slick. Like they'll try and like act like they're backing or they're having problems backing in, just sort of this big elaborate thing of like trying to get back around to like market, trying to sell you them as a marketer. Like I got like one guy who's like, I want it back, but like, what are you doing to like promote? Or like, he was asking questions about like my shipping costs and stuff. So I would like, I answered them. Like at this point, and then it was like this whole elaborate thing where he's like, oh, you should email this guy. He's like posing as another art dealer who's like well known, and it was just like this whole thing. It's just like it took like a few exchanges for me to figure out, oh, this guy's like scamming. This all bullshit.
yeah. They're definitely getting more elaborate in their scams, and sometimes I worry about that too. It just when I'm talking about art, selling art, repping artists and stuff, I as I'm formulating
Yeah.
some communication, I'm like, I have to do this so I don't sound like a scammer of some sort, because it's just so
Cam,
much.
if you didn't walk up to me in person, I would not have believed that you were like a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, like it helps because like the one thing that helps is like on Kickstarter, it'll say like how many campaigns the person has backed and like when they made the account. So if it's all September 2023 and they back zero, it's like obviously scam.
Yeah. I think my Kickstarter account. I was doing some stuff. I was trying to help Stefano Carticelli, Italian artist, kind of crazy frenetic style. I was trying to help him do a Kickstarter, like I want to say like a decade ago. And for some reason now, every time I log in, it's Cam and Stefano Carticelli. So it's so weird because I've
Yeah, I
had.
think like if I do other campaigns, it's just going to be Kickstarter / Piss and Apocalypse plus / the thing. I didn't realize I should have put my name there. Yeah, because it's like you look at the address for the Kickstarter. It's like kickstarter.com / Piss and Apocalypse / Piss and Apocalypse. I think I'm stuck with that now.
That's okay. That's okay. Your reputation precedes you. But so guys, we've kind of gone past that hour a bit. Might wrap up, but before we do, James, do you want to do another little rundown of the original art available, and then Victor, any chance you can snag the commission sketches? and we'll just kind of roll through those
Oh
before we
yeah, sure.
say goodnight to everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we're about 3 days into the campaign. This is day 3. We're about halfway to our goal. We need about another 4,800 Canadian, and we'll be funded. And hopefully, if you haven't backed yet, we've inspired you to. Originally, we had these 2 pieces available, and these both sold out the first day. And now I put up this 3rd piece, which is the cover for issue 5. You can see right there. And then I have original panels that appear in the final version here. And these are all, like I was explaining earlier, these are like blue line drawings I printed out and re-inked. These are mirrored. They'll face the other way. They look better in real life. This is sort of like the mirror effect you get on a camera. It's kind of screwy. But yeah, they got. I put up 12 pieces. You got 11 still available. So you want to get in there, snatch that up, and I will be setting up a commission tier. You can get, I think, like $100 or get like a signed copy of the book and with the drawing of whatever you want. I'll probably do tiers where you can pick up the zines. You can pick up reprints of the original Piss and Apocalypse zine, so you can read it in its original form. And you can get, like, if you're a completist, you can own everything that James Edward Clark ever did. And I will be retiring these after the campaign because I'll have like a proper book to sell everybody. I won't have to print any more of those, which would be great. And then I think that's about it. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, so guys, hop on that. I know we've got a bunch of avid readers on here and a bunch of maniacal collectors, myself included. And I snagged one of the covers.
Yeah,
and
really nice one. Really nice.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about it. My first piece of James's original work. And like I said, insanely reasonably priced across the board. So
especially if you're American, yeah, everything's like, Canadian prices. So it's like what are we up to? $1.36, $1.35.
Yeah, $150 Canadian is only $109 American. So
it's a steal. I should have charged more.
Yeah, next time.
Next time I'll plan it better. Like, that was like the nice thing about doing these commissions too, because like I get I charge 150, and they send me 150 American. It's like really like over 200. It was like sort of. That's the other way it would kind of made sense to me.
No, that's great, and I guess it's nice for me selfishly, you being Canadian, because I know some of the other Kickstarters, even Sewer Boys, without offering shipping to Canada, it's always
you got to pay duties on that thing, and then,
they really got it easy.
Yeah, no, I was glad you bought it because I won't have to figure. Like I'm doing like a manga size book. The final version, like it'll be bigger. I'm printing it bigger than the mini comics, so they'll be about like 5 by 7.5. The final versions. So that's like I can put it in like a reasonable size box and it won't be too bad. Like there are services up here that they'll actually like drive your Kickstarter packages to the border, go across the border, and mail them on the other side to save you some money. I'll probably be doing that.
Rod's wondering what size the commissions will be.
Probably about the same size of the book, so like 5 by 7.5. Like the one Victor was showing off were larger. That's like a larger one. That was like
8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12, something like that.
Yeah, it's like 9 by 12 or 8 by 12.
You have that one sitting there, Victor?
Yeah, the one he was showing earlier.
It's in a 9 by 12 pad, so
yeah, exactly.
9 by 12.
No, that's this. I would buy pads like watercolor pads like this, and if I was doing like the $50 ones, I would just kind of take the envelope I was using, and just sort of draw out the diameters of the envelope so they would fit in easily. And yeah, that was my first attempt there. He's like, "Oh, you drew it at the back." It's like, no, I didn't like that, so I drew. I knew
I'm totally okay with that.
I knew he was going to reprint them, so I wanted it to look good just for my own. I don't want like a shitty piece of my art in print. So
neither did I.
No, so and
I don't even think this is shitty though. So
didn't quite meet my exacting standard.
Yeah, that's great.
I like.
No, I appreciate it. I feel fortunate that it ended up this way because I I do really like this drawing.
You got a deal. You got like 2 pieces. Sometimes,
Exactly.
Sometimes I'll. Sometimes you get a deal. You get 2 drawings. If I'm like,
there you go.
My perfectionism takes over. I could tell you about my perfectionism.
And that's actually in my book, which I've also got right here.
Yeah, I got a copy of that. It's a beautiful production of the whole thing. There you go.
You can see that reproduced there. Very happy with the results next to the immaculate Irwin Papa. You can go to my website and grab a copy of this. Still, I've got plenty of copies. Haven't had any orders in a while, so feel free to grab like a dozen if you want. And original pages from this comic are available on the Inky Knuckles website. So like a lot of stuff, this one just went, but like a ton of really great pages still. Like some of these pages, I'm surprised are still around even. So this is like talking about being not making something until you're happy with the quality or wanting your stuff immortalized in print. It has to be good enough. Like this is probably the best thing I ever made. So ton of that still available, original art wise, and then the book itself is also available on my website.
Yeah, it's really nice. Square bound, really nice production.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, my partner Meredith produced the whole thing, put everything together. Basically made me look like an artistic genius. So that's really cool. And then Cam and I are getting commissions out to the people. And so I'm working on a Battle Beast right now. I just printed out a bunch of sketches, and so I've got like this character from Chainsaw Man that I'm doing. Power in demon form.
Chainsaw Man's really big. Yeah, I've never read it.
Michelangelo. Nice. Little sewer action. This is actually a reward. A commission, the commission that got snatched from the Sewer Boys Kickstarter. So someone got the Victor Alpi commission tier, and they asked for Michelangelo. So that's what this is. And then this is
very elaborate piece.
This is Lone Wolf and Cub number 2. So we got Wolf, Cub, and then I think Rolling Heads is kind of going to be a theme. And so I've got just a bunch of samurai guys with like limbs chopped off and cut in half directly down the middle and all sorts of fun stuff for people. And then Black Terror cover recreation.
Nice.
Gonna hit some Nazi planes down. Little Uncanny X-Men cover recreation. Get to draw a badass Wolverine. Little Savage Dragon. This one's gonna be fun. I gave him a big robot arm.
Kind of looks like Hellboy's arm.
Yeah. It's going to be dope. And then this one, I don't like. I accidentally set it to color instead of black and white. So this is the TMNT Cerebus poster sort of pinup.
What's that gentleman you always commission Cerebus with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I've done
Joshua Even, yeah.
Shout out to Josh.
So I'm doing one for him. This is the composition I'm doing for that. And then, just getting started. I literally just got started inking these. I'm still working on several more. There's a couple big ones that I'm doing, and like a Spider Punk and a Cobra Sun from Do a Power Bomb.
That was a great series.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah. I'm a big New Japan fan, so you could tell. I could tell he's a big mark for that stuff.
Nice. Yeah, he basically like what's the guy
Naito.
Thunder Liger is like
Oh,
basically
Houston Thunder Liger. Yeah.
yeah. So he's super cool. Cobra Sun is cool. My idea for him is to do a Sting era in quotes Cobra Sun. So big black trench coat, baseball bat, like maybe even coming down from the rafters. Some nonsense like that. I don't know. I'm still mulling it over. That's why I don't have like a sketch printed out yet.
Yeah, you should look up El Desperado from New Japan. He's got kind of that would work as kind of like a Crow era version of that character.
Yeah,
If you know who I'm talking about, El Desperado.
El Desperado. I'll definitely check him out.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that's it for me. I just wanted to kind of hang out and let James, sling his new book. I think he's great at his stuff, and yeah, just
we never talked before. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have like joined several Discords together recently as well, so we're like chatting on like different things. It's complex.
Yeah, was it Erwin Alpi? Or who was the one? What was the
I'm Alpi, but Erwin Papa.
Erwin Papa, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Discord, and then there's like another indie comic one they invited me.
Yeah, I literally just got invited to another indie comics thing. Like you were saying earlier, Cam, indie comics is where everything is starting to happen.
That one. I'll join that one. Unless they have like a meme page, I've mostly just been spamming about my campaign so far on there.
Yeah.
If they have like a meme page, I'll throw up some memes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's your love language.
Well, it's like it's a good way to like get engagement on your profile, and like the more engagement you get, the more it boosts you.
There you go.
But yeah, you gotta be careful what you post on Instagram. Like they're very sensitive. Like the most random stuff will get you flagged. So I gotta post. I save the more spicy stuff for the Discord.
Oh, here I before we're cutting out. I still got this on my desk, so I can show you guys that.
Oh, Sewer Boys, yeah.
Oh, nice, yeah, Sewer Boys.
So, did you do two? How many pages did you do? Like just the double, and that counted as like your 2 pages.
This is no. So I did.
Yeah, you did an extra one. So you did 3 total?
This is a 2-page spread, and then I did these 2 pages.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Of comics.
Yeah.
And these are like all done up in like screen tones and all of that stuff. But this, I am going to do the screen tones digitally, but this counts as my two pinups that I was supposed to do because it's a 2-page spread. Or at least that's what I'm hoping, because I don't really have time to do any more.
Oh, those are awesome. It's been an exciting time between like the Sewer Boys, Piss and Apocalypse. There's a lot going on with you guys, and it just I really appreciate you guys hopping on. Victor, James, it's awesome to shoot the shit with you. Awesome to hear some stories and see the original art in hand. And again, guys, make sure you hop on Piss and Apocalypse. We're 3-4 days in.
This is be the 3rd day we're in right now. So we're halfway funded. We got halfway yesterday. And now it's just got to grind out the last home stretch for the rest of the month, looks like. And hopefully we get there and everything gets funded and everyone get their book.
Awesome.
And just doing the interviews and trying to get out there and get the word out.
Awesome, guys. And I'm sure you'll hear more from us on the Kickstarter. We'll send out some reminders as this goes on. And appreciate everyone who hopped on. Again, always appreciate it. And Victor, James, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take it easy, y'all.
Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.